So you've always been into animals and creatures since the beginning of time. And there was a pretty funny story about you and Mom when you were asking her to marry you that I feel like we need to get into.
All right, I'll tell you this one. This one's kind of funny. But anyway, so me and Mom, well, to back up a little bit, I found Mom in her ward. She was a young adult. She was just cute as could be. She had the sweetest smile that you ever saw, and she was grounded in the gospel. And I was interested in going on a date with her. And so I called her up and said, hey, you want to go on a date? She says, well, when you want to go? And I said, well, how about Saturday night? We'll go to Knott's Berry Farm. And she goes, I have to work at Tasty Freeze. Okay, what about Friday night? I got to work then too. What about the next Friday night? I'm working then too. Saturday night? I'm working then too. Okay, well, I tell you what, do you still want to go? And she says, well, yeah, I would like to go, but I work an awful lot. I need to work a lot. Okay, well, I'll wait a little bit. And so then I waited 3 or 4 weeks, and I called her up, and she was working at Tasty Freeze on Friday night and Saturday night, and and I just really didn't have another night free, and so and so finally I think I asked her about the next 2 Friday nights and Saturday nights and come up with a 0, and I didn't want to, maybe, sometimes girls just say, hey, they're busy, and they're not really busy, but they don't want to go out with you. You just never know.
That couldn't be your story, though.
Yeah, well,
No way, right?
Well, so time passed, and I remember going roller skating with her and her group, and at the end of roller skating, she just kind of said, hey, I don't know what you're doing Saturday, but I don't have to work on Saturday. And so, lo and behold, I said, well, let's go to Knott's Berry Farm. And she said, okay. And so we took her to Knott's Berry Farm. We had a lot of fun. Everything went really well. I thought we'd get along great until we hit the parachute ride. And I asked her if she was scared of heights, and she said no. And I said, okay, well, let's go do the parachute ride, because it's really kind of cool, because you go up really, really high and you can see all over the valley, and it's kind of fun. So I took her up in the parachute ride, and we got to the top, and it was really pretty, and you could see the whole valley, and lo and behold, it started to float down. Well, that wasn't very exciting, and so I grabbed the rails and started swinging the parachute ride back and forth, and she grabbed a hold of the rails and was white knuckling it, and she said, stop it, stop it. Oh, no, it's fun, it's no fun, it's fun. Well, that was not a good thing. I was this close she was this close from saying, take me home now. And I spent the rest of the night trying to appease myself and bring her back into her good graces, and I think I made some progress, but yeah, we definitely had a fractured experience. But anyway, we continued to date off and on, and we dated several times that summer, and then she went off to school, and then I went up a couple times during the school year and saw her and went on dates and went to conference and yada yada yada, and then she came back, and I guess we dated several times that summer and became an item, and so it got down to the point where I just knew that I really loved her. She was just the neatest girl, and I had gone far and wide, down to San Diego, up to Santa Barbara looking at dances and bands and girls and things, and I just really thought she was cute. I thought that she had the sweetest smile, and she was funny, but she was spiritual too, that she had a strong testimony, and the experiences that she had with her father leaving her had left her with a strong and burning testimony, and that was important to me too. So anyway, along about Christmas time, we thought about going out and making our decision, and I thought she should go, and then I would go and meet back other and ask the Lord if we ought to get married. And something happened, I don't remember what, so it didn't work out, and so then later on in like March or April or something along those lines, a few months later, we decided that this was the weekend. And she was going to go pray somewhere, and I was going to pray somewhere, and we'd meet each other on the top of a hill outside that we had been up there a couple times that had a really pretty view, and we'd see how we felt about each other. Well, I went to the mountains and prayed and asked God if she was the one, and I kind of felt like she was the one, but I wanted a sign. You know, the old scripture that says, "'Tis a wicked and adulterous generation that seeketh after a sign." Wicked and adulterous, that's me. But anyway, not adulterous, but anyway.
Oh, that got weird.
Yeah, it got weird.
It got weird.
You can edit that one out. So anyway, I went up, and there I found a really tiny stream way up in the mountains that somebody else had told me about, and man, I shouldn't have took my car up there, but I went all the way up there and you know, prayed and asked God, and you know, I just felt good about her, but I didn't have a sure, solid witness. You know, before I sign my name on the dotted line and get sealed for time and all eternity, I wanted to know that this was going to work out. I didn't want to have a problem, you know, and so anyway, I remember going back down and talking to my dad and said, "Hey, why don't you come up with me and talk with me, and let's show you this little stream, there's fish in it." And so we went up there, and he says, and I remember my dad, "You drove your car up here? Are you kidding me?" It was one of those kind of roads, and we finally went up there and got there, and I don't think we did any fishing, but we talked a lot about how my dad knew that my mother was the right one, and he told me how he felt, and I told him how I felt, and he said, "Well, you know, that's kind of how things feel when you gotta get married." You know, I go, "Oh man, but I want to know. I want to really know." And he says, "Well, you know, you do know. You know, I could, you know, she's a wonderful girl, and I'm sure it'll all work out." And okay, so anyway, and I went back and I dropped Dad off, and I said, "You know what? I feel good about this spiritually. I haven't seen the finger of the Lord right in a rock somewhere. I haven't seen the lightning bolt strike the tree. I haven't seen, but I'm doing it wrong. I know that." So anyway, I actually went around and I got 24 roses and I don't know, some other stuff too, and so I decided I was gonna propose to her, and I went there a little bit early, and the many times that we had gone up to this place, you had to go through all these orange groves to get there. And almost every time, if not every time, as we drove through these orange groves, we would see 1 skunk, 2 skunks, 10 skunks feeding on the oranges in the evening. And I don't think we ever went up there without seeing a skunk. So I said, "Lord, if this is supposed to work out, I need to see a skunk." It was a pretty good chance. I saw them all the time anyway, right? I'm driving through these orange groves. I'm even taking a longer route back and forth and in and out. and there's not a skunk, not a single skunk the whole time. And so I'm sitting here going, okay. So now I'm just going to go up there. I'm going to propose to her. I know that's the right thing to do. But man, I still want to sign. So then I drive up, and I drive way out of the orange groves and way up on the top of this hill that's away from the orange groves by a couple miles, right? No reason for a skunk to be anywhere near where we're at, of course. And so anyway, I get up there and I set up 2 chairs and a dozen roses, and I got a little flashlight, and it's getting dark. In fact, it's getting real dark. In fact, it's dark, dark. And I'm saying, you know, am I going to do this? Sure nice to see a sign. All of a sudden, 10 feet in front of me, I hear a little noise. Not a big noise, but kind of a little noise. Right out in front of me, in the low grass, I can't see a thing. But something is there. I know something's there. But I brought a flashlight, and so I kind of slowly reach down and fumble around and trying to find the flashlight. Then I'm trying to find the little button. I think it was one of those little old mag lights, you know. And I turn it on. And as soon as I turn it on, and probably 6 feet in front of me is the tail end of a skunk. And it's not only just the tail end of the skunk. The skunk's tail is straight up in the air, and his little hind feet are just kicking out, which is exactly what they do before they spray. And I said, Heavenly Father, please, don't let him spray. I've got to propose to my wife tonight. Don't do this to me. Please don't do this to me. And then the light, my flashlight quit working. So now I'm sitting up there in the dark, just waiting to get sprayed. And I never got sprayed. And I did propose to my wife. And miracle of miracles, she said yes.